I'm coming with question number 23 of Pathfinder kinematics. Please subscribe my channel and like also. And for more videos, please press the bell icon. So I want to go with the reading of question number 23. What the question is saying that the component along and perpendicular to the position vector are known as radial and transverse component, okay, respectively. A particle is projected horizontally from the top of the tower. This line is important, so you please carry this line. Assuming the acceleration due to gravity to be uniform and the origin of the coordinates. So here the four options are given. What do you think about radial component of the velocity, transverse component of velocity, radial component of acceleration, and transverse component of acceleration? So I tell you clearly, just listen carefully, properly. If this is your y-axis, this is your x-axis, okay, and let's assume this is your tower, okay, and from this tower a particle is throwing with a velocity u, okay. So the trajectory of the particle is, if I'm talking about the trajectory, then trajectory of the particle is like this. And this trajectory, suppose let's assume the height of the tower is h. So if you are thinking and tell one thing, if this at a height, at a depth y, let's assume here the velocity is v. Of course, you can say that v is more than u. Of course, I can understand this point. But just listen carefully. And acceleration of g is acting downward. Okay. So I hope no one has a problem. And one thing, if this angle is theta, so firstly I want to give the analysis of what is the meaning of tangential and transverse and radial. Radial means, suppose this has particular center of curvature, this is center, and one component is acting along this direction. So this velocity component, acceleration component, which is always perpendicular to the tangent at the point, is called radial component. Suppose this is your circle, and if you draw the tangent anywhere like this, and this perpendicular line is called radial line or radial component, and this line is called transverse line. Understood my point? So now it is very clear. So for the better understanding, I want to go with question, what the question is saying. So this is the simple description of this question. Now if you take the one component of g in this direction, so it is g cos theta, and other component is acting along this direction, it is nothing but it is g sin theta. So we can say that the radial component of the acceleration is g sin theta, and tangential component of the acceleration is g cos theta. As the particle is going down, the theta is always increases. Understood my point? As the particle is going down, the theta is always increases. So theta is always increases. So my dear friend, we know very well, if the theta is increases, then we can say that the value of sine theta is also increases. The value of this sine theta is increases, but cos theta is decreases. Because of this reason, we can say that the AR is increases and the tangential acceleration or transverse component of the acceleration is decreases. There is no meaning of the first decreases and then increases. So it is always, because theta is always increases. So here it is always increasing, always decreasing. So we can say that the answer of C, the radial component of acceleration is P, and the transverse component of acceleration is Q. I hope you can understand my point. Now just look at the question. One component is supporting the velocity always in this direction. Understood? One component is always supporting the velocity. It is acting in the direction of the velocity. So, but it is decreases also. Decreases. Here what is happening? One component is acting along this direction, but it is always increases. So if the acceleration, suppose the particle is here and one acceleration A is acting in this direction and it is increases. So we can say that the velocity of the particle is also increases. Understood my point? And one thing, here what is happening, one acceleration is going, but this acceleration is continuously decreases. So the velocity of the particle is also continuously decreases. Simple logic. Understood? So on this basis we can say that the transverse component of the velocity is decreases and radial component of the velocity is increases because AR is increases and here because AT is decreases. Simple logic. Understood? So I want to go with the radial component of the velocity. Of course, radial component of the velocity is increases. So the answer is P. And the transverse component of the velocity is okay. One thing. Now I tell you one thing. 1 second. The magnitude of the acceleration is decreases, but it is acting. So what is happening here? You apply some force and your magnitude of the forces decreases. But you should apply the forces now. Because of this reason, this velocity is also increases. So either in a radial velocity or tangential velocity, both velocities are increases. So radial velocity or tangential velocity, both velocities are increasing. So this answer is also P. So in my point of view, the radial component of the velocity is increases. Why it is increases? Because forces continuously act in this direction. Understood or not? And transverse component of the velocity is also increases. Why it is increases? Because one of the forces acting here also. Either the magnitude, but one force is present. Magnitude is decreases, it's okay. But force is present. So you should go with this also. Radial component of acceleration, of course I tell you clearly, it is increases because theta is always increases. And transverse component of acceleration is decreases. Why it is decreases? Because cos theta is decreases. Thank you so much for watching this video. Bye-bye.